Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. My name is Tori Solis, and today I'm going to be going through the process of mixing a mason stain with a slip and testing different concentrations of that slip and color combination. We're going to be using turquoise 63, 64. We're going to be making concentrations of a 5, 10, 15, and 20%. I have already pre-done the math for each of these 62 gram jars that I'm going to be making of colored slip with this stain. I'm using Laguna B-Mix as the base for my stain. There are tons of options. I don't really care what you use. It matters a little bit. The things that are going to matter the most are how white the clay is. A whiter clay isn't going to discolor the stain and you're going to get a better color. And if you're going to be using this stain to paint with, like I plan to do, I plan to use this stain to paint on my pottery, you're going to want something that has a similar shrinkage rate to the clay that you are already using. If it's not the same clay, or it could just crack off. The slip can separate from the clay in the kiln, or even as it dries. It just depends on where that shrinkage is occurring, but if they shrink at different rates, the slip can just pop right off of your clay body. So use something, my suggestions, use something that is pretty pale, close to white if you can, and then use something that shrinkage rate is very similar, if not the exact same, as the base clay body that you are going to be applying a stain slip to. In this tiny sample size, it's going to be very important for me to make sure that I'm weighing out very accurate measurements of stain. I have a really great scale. I suggest you grab a really great scale if you want to do tiny measurements. If you're doing bigger batches, it's not as important to have such a precise measurement, but for testing, it's pretty important. For safety precautions here, I would generally just treat the mason stains as glaze components, so you don't want to be breathing these in. Whether they say they are or aren't toxic, it's a good idea to wear a mask when you're working with stains, at least when you're working with them in their powdered form. When they're a slip and they're all mixed up, you're fine. You don't need to wear a mask then. It's important to mix these very thoroughly. If they aren't mixed well, you can get pockets of stain powder, for lack of a better term, that create a mess. They make a mess. If you get a stain pocket and you fire it out, it'll just be this powdery place that flakes away. Create pockets of darker color, because it's just straight concentrated powder in that one area. So make sure that they're thoroughly mixed. If you're mixing a larger concentration, like this 20% that I'm about to mix here, you're going to want to add it a little bit at a time and then stir it gently just to get all of it moistened so that it doesn't just fly out in a floof everywhere, and then add a little bit more and stir it gently. Even here, I did floof some out of the jar, and I'm just going to wipe that back into the jar for the accuracy of measurements in this situation. Once all of these are mixed and we've created our 5, 10, 15, and 20% concentrations of stain, we're going to need to create a slab test tile, a tile of some sort. I'm making a fancy one for this, why not? So I'm just going to stamp out the name turquoise 63, 64, and then I'm going to type down the percentages, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and that'll be really organized and easy for me to show you. But hey, if you just want to throw it on a little chunk of clay and let it dry and then see how it looks, that's totally fine. This is for your sake. I'm going to dab and pull up the slip for each of these in their respective columns. I'm doing the dab and pull so that I can kind of see what it looks like at different thicknesses, so I can see if you can see brush strokes or if it's going to be pretty matte. I'm hoping that this is going to be something sort of matte because I am an acrylic painter, and underglazes behave, the traditional commercial underglazes behave a lot like watercolors, and I'm hoping that in creating some slips to work with, I can paint more comfortably on my work, like it's an acrylic more behaving like an acrylic than the traditional underglaze. That's my hope, but we'll see how it goes and behaves. Once this tile has dried, it's going to be put into the bisque fire. It's bisqued and it looks, like bisque. I'm going to put a dollop of clear glaze onto each of these just to kind of test it. I made a first 5 gloss, so I haven't used this before, but just a little dot to see. This clear glaze is not it, and there isn't much difference between the concentrations with this turquoise. It's going to be different for different stains, but for this turquoise, there's not a huge difference in how dark these are coming out, which is great because it means that I can use less of it and still have a good, strong color. So thank you so much for tuning in this week, guys. If you'd like to gain early access to all of my videos and help make my channel a thing, you can find me at patreon.com/BlueNoseTrading. If you'd just like to stick around, hang out, and see the weekly art videos that come out on Fridays, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Blue Nose Trading. Remember that you have really great ideas and that you are super important. Also, go drink some water. I will see you next week.